Yes guys, it's FPL Guy here, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, how you guys doing? So in today's video, we'll be going through your teams that you have sent me over on my Instagram and giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on your drafts that you have come up with so far. Now one thing to point out is that I got quite a lot of drafts sent to me on my Instagram, so unfortunately I can't go through all of them, but I have selected 6 drafts, 6 teams to go through today. I've gone for teams which are fairly different to each other, so we can have a look at some different players, different combinations, different strategies, and see which one you guys prefer and give you guys my thoughts on them as well. So I'm really sorry if I didn't pick your team. I just can't do all of them in one video, but if you do like this video and you find it very useful, then please let me know. I'm more than happy to do a part 2 to this. Leave it in the comments and I'll get back to it and we can do another one if you guys like. So one more thing before we start looking at your teams, I've officially announced the giveaway over on my Instagram. I've done this I think 2 days ago now. It's been announced on my Instagram. All the information, all the details you need for the giveaway is on my Instagram, so do check that out. It's on the top of the screen right now at FPL Guy. I'll also leave the overall information and details to the giveaway and how to enter in the description. So if you haven't already entered, then why not? It's completely free. And if you live outside of the UK, you can also join. I've also left some information about that too, so do have a read. And let's get into the video now. Alright, so the first team is on screen right now, sent in by Sean King. Thank you, Sean, for sending in your team. His @ is at the bottom left of your screen right now, so feel free to check his page out on Instagram. So straight off the bat, you've gone for a 3-4-3 formation, solid formation. Probably my favorite formation, to be honest, as it means that you have 4 midfielders and 3 attackers. And I personally like to have a lot of forwards and midfielders, as 9 out of 10 weeks, they're the ones who are getting majority of your points. So at the back, you've gone for Sanchez and Foster. I mean, that's a pretty popular combination and I can see why. Sanchez, defensively, Brighton are very solid, and with the fact that they have amazing fixtures to start off the season, then he's a no-brainer, especially coming out 4.5. Great value for money, so solid pick there. In defense, the first thing I'm spotting is there's no Trent. Or I should say the first thing I'm not spotting is that there's no Trent. It's quite interesting you haven't gone for him or Robertson, but the fact that you haven't done that means you've freed up 2 million since you've gone for Stones instead. You've freed up 2 million to spend elsewhere, which could actually be very beneficial, and we'll come to that in a second. So you've gone for Cresswell, Stones, Shaw, Fofana and Cody. So I'm assuming most people would have Cresswell, Shaw, Fofana and one other player, so you've gone for Cody. So Stones is the guy that you probably replaced with for Trent. So the fact that you've done that, you've saved 2 million, and I can see you kind of spread that money out throughout the team. You've gone for Shaw. I mean, he's solid, played very well in the Euros. I can see his momentum carrying on into the Premier League, so he's solid. He's going to be a majority of the team. He's going to be in my team as well, so great pick there. Stones, I mean, City kept the most clean sheet by far last season, so if they continue that run with Stones, Diaz being the core of their defense, then I don't see why not. He's a great pick. Cresswell as well. I mean, you could save a little bit of money going with Soufal instead. I think both of them have potential for getting assists. Of course, I know Cresswell is going to be on set pieces, which just boosts his expected assists just a little bit more. So I can see why you've gone for him over Soufal. And then we have Fofana and Cody. Fofana, he's got the fixtures, but he won't be getting those goals or assists. You're really banking on him getting those clean sheet points, and that's fair enough. He's coming in very cheap, so you won't really be expecting him to getting amazing like double-digit hauls every single week. But the odd goal, maybe 1-2 goals in the season, to be honest, I don't think he's going to get much or even assists. So you're really hoping for clean sheets for Leicester, which is fair enough. And finally, we have Cody. He's got that threat for goal more than Fofana does. And the thing to point out is from game week 4 to 14, Wolves' fixtures are amazing. I think they're going to be facing only one team from the top 10 of last season. So amazing fixtures from game week 4 to 14. So Wolves are a team to really keep an eye on. So Cody could be a really nice differential there. Moving into the midfield, you've gone for Souček, Salah, Rafinha, Fernandes and Smith Rowe. Decent. I like the Salah Fernandez for obvious reasons. Then you've gone for Souček and Smith Rowe. So I think maybe here's where the budget you spread from not getting Trent. And fair enough, you've gone for someone like Souček, who is pretty core in that West Ham team. But will he be getting those goals and assists frequently? I don't think so. I think it'll be very similar to last season, how he was getting the odd goal here and there. Maybe every 5, 6, 7 games he'll get that goal. So I don't think he's going to be getting a lot of points. So maybe you could think to downgrade him and go for maybe in the 4.5 region, maybe Basuma. That'll free up a lot of funds, and then you can spread that out even more in your team, and maybe even get Stones and Trent in the back line. And then you go on for Smith Rowe. Now with him, we're not really sure how he's going to play, what kind of minutes we're looking at for him. So again, that's something to maybe keep an eye on, maybe not go for him straight away, but with his price, he looks like a decent option too. And then finally, we've gone for the 3 up front: Watkins, Antonio, Iheanacho. Nothing wrong with those guys, brilliant picks all round. So Antonio, he's going to be the focal point of the West Ham attack, so he's going to be a great pick. Iheanacho, if he keeps up the form that he showed us last season, linking up with Vardy, he's a phenomenal pick as well, and he's got the fixtures as well to back him up. And then Watkins, he gets off with a good start. He's got the team, he's got Grealish, he's got the players behind him to feed him the balls. Then he could be a decent pick. I don't think he's going to be in my Gameweek 1 team. Maybe that'll change, but at the moment I don't think I'll be going for him. So overall, very nice team. I really like it. I like the couple differentials that I haven't seen in other people's team, like Cody, Stones, Souček. I like those picks. As an overall rating, I'll give this team an 8 out of 10. Solid, Sean. Nice one. Okay, so here's the next team. So there's no name confirmed to me whether I should use it or not. So just to be safe, I haven't given a name just for security purposes for the person. But the reason I picked this draft is really because of the formation, a 5-3-2. Now, I heard a lot of people say that this is going to be the year of the defenders, but not many people backed it up. But this team, they've really gone for it. 5 at the back and 5 really strong players at the back as well. If you look at the goalkeeper, again, Sanchez, once again, really popular pick. I'm not going to go through it again. Great fixtures, everything really good, really cheap as well, so that's great. And then the back 5. So this is the interesting part. We've got Trent, Shaw, Dean, Stones and Fofana. And all great picks, first of all. So the difference from previous team and this team, last team had Cody, this team has Dean. So now Dean, since the fixtures for Everton are probably one of the best for the starting first 6 game weeks, Dean is a great pick. He's going to be on set pieces. He's likely to get several assists, especially with Calvert-Lewin in the middle, and we know how good he is heading in the ball. So Dean is going to be fundamental for those crosses into the box. He's a great pick. Apart from that, the other 4 really already mentioned in the previous team. Great pick. Stones as well, 5.5, one of the cheaper City players. You also look at Cancelo, but is he going to start? That's the only problem. Diaz as well. But I think Stones and Diaz are pretty much set. They should be playing 90 minutes every game, so Stones is the cheaper one, so he's probably the better pick there. Fofana, once again, really cheap, likely to get several clean sheets, so the points will come from there. Not likely to get any goals or assists in my opinion. And then Shaw and Trent, very great players, great picks. Nothing more to say about that. Then moving on to the midfield, we've got Salah, Fernandez, Greenwood, Bissouma and Phillips. So the 3 on the pitch at the moment, Salah, Fernandez and Greenwood. Salah and Fernandez, we know they're great. They're going to be a majority of the teams. And then we have Greenwood. Now, I mentioned this in my first draft video as well. Greenwood is a very nice differential to go for, especially since Rashford is likely to be out for a couple of game weeks at the start of the season. So Greenwood should be getting most of the minutes every game. So we're going to have Sancho, Greenwood, Fernandez and Cavani. We could maybe also have Martial playing as well, but we're just going to have to see what kind of strategy Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be going for there. And if Greenwood does consistently start and play, or gets a few good minutes every game, then he's definitely a great pick, especially at the start of the season. And then coming up top is Antonio and Iheanacho and Tony. Now you could even play a 4-3-3 on this form with this team as well, with Tony up front. So all three of the players are great. So Antonio Iheanacho, I mentioned in my previous in the previous team. The difference here is that you've gone for Tony. With Tony, he's on penalties, he's got decent fixtures, and at the price point at 6.5, he's probably the best option at that price. There's no one really in the forward bracket at 6.5 or around that region who is a potential option. So Tony is probably the best one there. And then on the bench, you've also got Basuma and Phillips. They, I assume, will just be on your bench. I don't think Phillips or Basuma are likely to be involved in many goals. So they're the ones that if one of your players just doesn't play for whatever reason, then Basuma and Phillips should be able to cover with those 2 points that they would usually get. So overall, not a bad team. I like it. 5 at the back. That's really brave, to be honest. Solid team. I would give it a rating of 7 out of 10. Nice one. Okay, so here's the next team we have. So in goal, we have Pickford and Sanchez on the bench. Now, you've gone for a slightly more premium option in goal with Pickford coming in at 5 million and Sanchez at 4.5. That's a really interesting pick and pretty smart as well, in my opinion, since Pickford, probably the best fixtures the first 6 game weeks. I'll read it out. So Everton's got Southampton, Leeds, Brighton, Burnley, Aston Villa and Norwich. So probably the best fixtures in the opening games. So you've gone for the double up with Dean and Pickford at the back, which could be very, very beneficial. And if they do keep maybe 4 or 5, maybe 5 pushing around 3 or 4 clean sheets out of the first 6, then that could see you go right up the ranks straight away. So that's solid. I really like that pick. And then you've gone for Shaw, Lamptey, Fofana and Johnson as your remaining defenders. Shaw, once again, he's in every single draft I've seen so far. So yeah, great pick. And once again, no Trent here, which is interesting as I mentioned, you can free up a lot of budget going for someone slightly cheaper and then upgrading elsewhere. And that could, if that pays off, the player that you upgrade, if he starts to bang, then you're jumping up the ranks significantly. And then Lamptey, right? This is the first draft we've seen with Lamptey in it. He's a great pick as long as he's starting and doesn't get injured. Brighton's defense is solid, and also the fact that he is very attacking. He's in the opposition's box a lot for a defender, so he's a great pick there. And then you also have Fofana, once again, very safe, very cheap option, nothing wrong with that, perfect. And then Johnson, not expecting him to start anything, but I think he's just there on the bench for you just to save some money, fair enough. Moving on to the midfield, you've gone for Fernandes, Salah, Grealish, Mount and Rafinha. So Fernandes, Salah, once again, very nice, very good. And then we have Grealish. That's the first team we've seen Grealish in. As long as he doesn't get injured and as long as he stays at Aston Villa, then he is a solid pick. He's going to be creating a majority of the chances for Aston Villa. So if there is a goal, there's like an 80% chance he will be involved. More likely with an assist than a goal, but nevertheless, he will be in the points. And then you've gone for Mount. So the first Chelsea player we've seen. Really interesting here. He is on set pieces. Let me actually have a look at their fixtures. So if I go and find Chelsea, so I've got this on a separate screen, so I'll just read it out for you. Actually, they've got one of the worst fixtures. So in the first 6, they've got Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Tottenham and City. So maybe not the best player to go for. I mean, he's a phenomenal player individually, but as looking at the fixtures, is he really the best player? I think there's some better options out there. If you are sticking with him, then he will be the man on set pieces. He is the man to create chances. So if Chelsea do score, which obviously they will in the first 6 games, I'm not saying they're not going to score at all. If they do score, then I do think he'll be involved in them. So that's an interesting pick there. Although the fixtures don't back it, that's what I will say. And then Rafinha on the bench. Leeds, they can score against any team. We know that. So Rafinha on set pieces as well. Played amazing last season for Leeds. So he's a great pick. And they're also, I think it was in the first team I spoke about. Rafinha was also there. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Yeah, that was a great pick from Sean. And then up front, you've gone for Calvert-Lewin, Watkins and Perica. I think that's how it's pronounced. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. But I'm assuming that he will be staying on the bench at 4.5. You're going for the cheapest player, and that's fair enough. You're going to be going for 2 at the front with Calvert-Lewin and Watkins, and once again, great picks. Calvert-Lewin on headers, on headers. I mean, he's really good at headering, and he's the guy who's winning majority of those battles in the air. So he will get majority of his goals with his head. So fair enough, great pick, especially at the start of the season. And then Watkins again, nice one. Overall, what would I give this team? I will give it a 6.5 out of 10. And the reason for that is your bench isn't the best with Parika and Johnson. If one or two of your players in your starting 11 don't play, then your bench isn't the strongest to come in and solve those problems for you. So if you can just maybe take out some money from certain players and put it into your bench, then I think the ratings will go a lot higher. Okay, so this is the next team. So once again, no name for this draft. But the reason I've picked this, as you can probably see, there's a lot of new players here that we haven't seen before. So let's start off at the back again. So Sanchez and Bankman. Solid picks once again, Sanchez, and especially with Bankman because he has also got pretty decent fixtures. So Watford in the first 6, I'll just read it out for you guys. They've got Aston Villa, Brighton, Spurs, Wolves, Norwich and Newcastle. And then with Brighton, you can actually rotate those goalkeepers, especially in Gameweek 5 where Brighton play Leicester and Watford play Norwich. So you can probably switch out these 2 goalkeepers, which is really nice. And then going for the back 5, really solid. Once again, no Trent, but that does allow for an overall stronger team. And I'm pretty sure that every single player in your team will be playing almost 90 minutes every game. They're all starting players, which is actually really good, and it really makes your bench incredibly strong for unforeseen circumstances that may arise, and then your bench is strong enough to come in and sort out those issues for you. So specifically, you're going for Tierney, Dunk, Dean, Shaw and Soufal. So Soufal, as I mentioned before with Cresswell, he's also a great alternative to Cresswell at a slightly cheaper price, and he offers assist potential as well. Shaw, again, solid. I'm not going to speak about him again. Dean, once again, solid, nice one. And then Dunk instead of Lamptey is an interesting pick. So Dunk has a more probability of scoring than Lamptey does, although assists are more likely to come from Lamptey. So there is a trade-off which one you want to go for. But with Dunk is he does sometimes take free kicks, and from corners he's very dangerous as well to get those goals. So instead of Lamptey going for Dunk, that's a very interesting and probably profitable pick as well. So that's a nice one. And once again, the double up in Brighton is a nice touch. And then we've gone for Tierney. So this is the first Arsenal player we've seen. Let's have a look at their fixtures. So I'll just read it out. They've got Brentford, Chelsea, City, Norwich, Burnley and Spurs as their first 6. So the first 3 are pretty difficult. So Brentford is okay, then they got Chelsea and City to follow that with. So it could be a little bit tricky to keep clean sheets there, but then afterwards they got Norwich and Burnley. So there's chance of clean sheets, over 2 or 3 clean sheets in the first 6. I can definitely say that. So Tierney, if he's starting every game, he's getting those clean sheets, and we've seen him getting some attacking returns in the form of assists before, and even goals, to be honest. So he's a nice differential that I haven't seen in any other draft yet. And then coming up to the midfield, we've got Buemo, Rafinha, Salah, De Bruyne and Harrison. So no Bruno in this team. That's quite interesting. And instead you've gone for De Bruyne, and that could actually be pretty nice. So in terms of fixtures, United do have a better starting fixtures than what City do. If I read out City for you guys, they've got Tottenham, then Norwich, Arsenal, Leicester, Southampton and Chelsea as the first 6. So I mean, De Bruyne, he can play the easiest team, he can play the hardest team, he's going to play phenomenally regardless. So as long as City are doing what they do best, scoring goals, then De Bruyne, I mean, that's a solid pick as well. And then you've gone for Harrison, Rafinha, double up in midfield for the Leeds team. If you have Bamford, Rafinha, Harrison, you're pretty much sorted for the goals coming from Leeds. Those 3 are the key players that you need to look out for in terms of the Leeds attack, and you've got 2 of them, so that's great. And then up from Watkins, Tony Wilson. Watkins, once again, another draft. solid pick. Tony again, he's on penalties as I mentioned, and then a new face here, Wilson. We haven't seen any Newcastle players yet, so this is the first one. Wilson on penalties, and once again I'll read out the fixtures for you guys for Newcastle. Let's have a look. So they got West Ham, Aston Villa, Southampton, United, Leeds and Watford, so pretty decent to be fair. They're not a big goal scoring team, and hence I haven't really mentioned him before, but he is the key man for the goals coming from Newcastle, so that's definitely a good pick if they do start off at a decent rate. So overall I'll give this draft a 6.5 out of 10. Alright, so here's the penultimate team. Once again, no name for this draft, but let's have a look at the team. So you've gone for Sanchez and Steele at the back. Brighton don't actually have any other backup goalkeeper, so if Sanchez does get injured or he doesn't play for whatever reason, then Steele is going to be a direct replacement, so you don't need to really worry about your goalkeeper, which I really do like, although he does take up an extra Brighton spot, which may come to bite back, but come on, it's Brighton, who are we really going to get from them? So I think that's a pretty nice smart play to go for Steele and Sanchez, especially since Steele is only 4 million, so it's a nice price as well. And then in defense, your key players are Shaw, Trent and Dean. I mean, fairly template, but I can see why. They're really great players, great fixtures. And then on the bench, you got Lamptey and Manquillo. Both of them are your cheaper options. Lamptey is obviously the one that you can alternate with your other defending players. Manquillo, although I don't think he's going to get many minutes, he'll get the odd game here and there, but I think he's just a player at 4 million just on your bench, which is fine to spread the money elsewhere. And then in your midfield, you've gone for Rafinha, Sarr, Salah, Fernandes and Billy Gilmore. That's the first Norwich player we've seen. So Rafinha, yeah, I've mentioned him, great player, on set pieces, phenomenal. And then Sarr. Now Sarr, I think he's like going to be the key man in the Watford team. I think, you know, even in last season for them, he was the player with the most goals, most assists and most minutes as well. So as long as he continues that, he's going to be the fundamental player in the Watford team. So he's a great option if you want to look for a Watford player. And then Salah, Fernandes, no need to say anything about them. And then Gilmore, we just need to see how he settles into the Norwich team, what kind of minutes we're looking at, what kind of positions he's taking up, and then maybe going for him straight off the bat from Gameweek 1 may pay off if he does well. Let's actually have a look at the Norwich fixtures. I'll just read them out to you. Okay, so I knew they were bad, but I don't think they were this bad. So the first 6, they have Liverpool, City, Leicester, Arsenal, then Watford, Everton. So the only decent game I would say there is just Watford, which is in Gameweek 5. So I don't really think that Gilmore is that good of an option anymore, to be honest. I knew that fixtures were bad, but I wasn't expecting it to be that bad. So maybe just as a bench option for now, just to keep him on the bench and getting in those 1-2 points if any of your players don't play, then fair enough. But I think you can go for someone with slightly better fixtures, potentially like Basuma, although you will need to remove maybe Lamptey or Steele for him. And then up front, you've gone for Cavalier, Antonio and Watkins. 3 solid players. I've mentioned them before, really solid, nothing wrong with those. All likely to be involved in majority of the goals. So nice team overall. The rating I would give this is going to be a 7 out of 10. Nice. And here is the final draft for today. Thank you for sending in your draft, by the way. So let's have a look at your team. So you've gone for Martinez, and that's the first time we've seen him, which is quite surprising since he is the highest owned goalkeeper so far in the game at just shy of 40%. So, I mean, Martinez, the first 3 fixtures for him is phenomenal. Let me just read out Aston Villa's fixtures for you guys. So they have Watford, Newcastle, Brentford, Chelsea, then Everton, United as their first 6. So first 3 are pretty nice. Then the next 3 get slightly more difficult, but I like the set and forget goalkeeper. You don't need to worry about him. You got Foster on the bench and he's not really going to be playing, so I like the set and forget goalkeeper. And then in the back, you've got Shaw, Robertson, Diaz, Soufal and Lamptey. Shaw, once again, great pick, and this time we have Robertson and no Trent. And so Robertson, most of the times, is pretty 50-50 to go either with Trent or Robertson. Sometimes one of them starts off the season really well, and then in the second half of the season, the other one picks up form. And so let's see who's going to be this season, who's going to start off really well. Hopefully both of them do. But in your case, you're going for Robertson, so he does come in 0.5 cheaper, which does save you a little bit of money to put elsewhere. And I think you've gone for Diaz, so if you had gone with Trent, then I don't think you would have been able to afford Diaz here. So going for Robertson and Diaz. And the other option is going for Trent and John Stones. I think they're both pretty solid options. I think the one that I mentioned could be slightly better because Diaz and Stones are pretty nailed on. And then we just have Trent and Robbo. And then according to the stats, Trent should be performing or more likely to get those assists. So you could have a little think about that. And then, yeah, Diaz, City are keeping clean sheets left, right, and centre, so solid pick there. And also, he's got that slight goal threat as well. And then you've gone for Soufal, the slightly cheaper alternative to Creswell, which I've mentioned is pretty good. It's something that I'm also considering myself for my own team. And then Lamptey on the bench, once again, solid pick. Brighton are really solid, and you haven't gone for their goalkeeper, so I think having at least one of their defenders is a nice shout. And then going into the midfield, you've gone for Sarr, De Bruyne, Salah, Dallas, and Harrison. So I like those options. Now Dallas, he's not really exciting he was as last season, since last season he was on FPL a defender, which meant he could get even more points with those clean sheets. And even when he scores a goal, he gets that extra point. So as a midfielder, Dallas is, I haven't seen him in any other drafts, but he's still a really nice pick. Loads of people had him last season because he was able to score goals, because he was able to get assists. So I don't think that's going to stop this season. And as a midfielder, a lot of people have sort of brushed him aside and gone for Rafinha and Harrison instead. But I like the pick for Dallas here. And then you gone for Sarr. As I mentioned in the previous draft, Sarr is going to be the key man in Watford team. So if there is a goal, he's likely to be involved. And then De Bruyne and Salah, again, no Bruno here. And then you have Harrison on the bench. So I think Rafinha is 0.5 more, so maybe you just can't stretch enough to get him. If it was from me and you had the option from Rafinha and Harrison, I would personally pick Rafinha. But Harrison is a nice alternative, slightly cheaper as well. If you can't afford him, there's nothing wrong with him. He's a solid pick as well. And then finally up front, Watkins, Toney, and Vidra. Now Vidra, he's a guy that usually just comes on in the 60-minute mark, gets the final 30 minutes of the game. I mean, no one's stopping him from scoring. We've seen him do it before. He comes on and scores, but he won't really be getting many points like last season. But your two main guys up front, Watkins and Toney, brilliant picks. Toney is on penalties, as I mentioned before, and both of their fixtures are great as well. So solid teammate. Overall, what would I give it? I would say an 8 out of 10. So well done, mate. Alright guys, so I think we'll leave it at that for today. Let me know which draft was your favorite down in the comment section and why you found it better than maybe the other ones. And if you found this video interesting and useful, then let me know. I'm more than happy to do another one for the teams which I wasn't unfortunately able to include in this video. I'm more than happy to do a part 2 to this video. And if you found it useful and helpful in any way, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video. It really helps out the channel. All the links to my socials will be in the description, so feel free to check that out. And as for the giveaway, once again, all the details, everything you need to know is on my Instagram, so please do check that out if you're interested in joining. And apart from that guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.